finally letting go of the thing that you have been holding on to and giving it out to the world and saying, here, look, this is my gift for you. But also, like, you know when it's like you've defined yourself by, I am going to release these songs, I've always wanted to do music, I've always wanted to have stuff out. It's hard to let go of that dream sometimes. And I'm now in a place where I'm like, no, we're letting it go. No, it's gonna be out in the world. No, it's out, it's free. And I have so much more songs to share with you. So it's time. Keep hydrated, kids. Hello, hello, hello. Today, we are talking about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. I have multiple. I think my major elephants in the room, and by this I mean things that I don't really talk about enough or like lead with, is or claim and step into is my disability, music, the fact that I am a multidisciplinary artist, and my aceness. Being on the ace spectrum. Oh my god, and being a witch. Let's talk about all of it. Let's get into it. Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna start with music because I think that that is like deeply, deeply my childhood dream. It is something I have wanted to do since I was little, is go on tour and just like, gig and tour the world, singing, making albums, making EPs, making music, playing keys, a multi-instrumentalist, being, yeah, just being everything I've ever dreamed. I was really shy growing up as well, like really, really shy. Like I think I was like selectively mute in school, and that was one thing I would do. That was one thing, though, that I would build up the courage to do, is sing in front of people. Because I loved it. It was like, I'd set up my microphone in front of the TV and sing lyrics. I managed to convince my parents to get me a microphone set and like a guitar set, like it was a toy version, I think. Kind of worked the same, but like, and I was singing in front of the TV, I print lyrics. Like, this is my dream, right? But I think that like the reasons why I haven't been able to claim that in its fullness is because, yeah, I grew up in an African household, in a Ghanaian household, and I think my parents were very much like, creativity is a side project. It is a side thing. You do it on the side with your academics, and it's not the thing that you do. And also grew up working class, so it was like every single time I wanted to like go to choir, every single time I had the opportunity to like develop it, wasn't even able to take it for like GCSE because, again, it was kind of like, no, it's not allowed because it's not academic, and also we can't afford it. And if I wanted to do after school clubs, whether it was music, drama, I was so good at drama as well. Just anything creative was my bag, but specifically music and drama. Like, just creative writing, drama, and music. That was my bag. Which tracks, because as a person, I am, like, my career is in music, poetry, and like multidisciplinary art, specifically though poetry. And I'll tell you why. I think it's because of this. It's because I think there is so much that comes into being a musician, at least for me, where I want to be a multi-instrumentalist. And also it's like easier if you can like get on stage and you can play a guitar. Otherwise it takes a village. So, and also being someone who like, do you know what I mean? Like, grew up working class, and so like money and stuff would be an issue. The village that you have around you, you have to pay them. You also have to have enough skill to prove that you have a track record and prove that you've got songs out before you get into the grants that will allow you to pay the village, right? So imagine someone who's not been classically trained, who hasn't done all of these things, all I knew then was to like do anything that I could. So what I would do is I would layer my vocals, and I would like make songs on GarageBand, and I'd layer my vocals, and then like I'd perform them, or I'd just sing a cappella on stage. But I don't think I ever thought that that was good enough to like release, maybe because I wanted more. And I think I'm now at a stage in my life where I'm actually actively trying to give myself that more. I'm playing keys. You'll see me playing keys a lot on this channel and like on this page. But like, that's self-taught. I play by ear. There's so much that I want to learn. I also want to learn production, right? And I think that like music sometimes feels like an inaccessible art form at times, because like the doors and like the programs that you need to learn, like Logic, there's so much to them, there's so much technology. And then there's also like building a village, like the musicians you're gonna gig with, and when you haven't grown up around these circles, it's like trying to find it. So I've done a lot of work. Like, trust me, I've managed in 2022, I managed to do a big headline show. Like, it felt like really huge. It was at Avalon Cafe, and like I headlined it, and I did it with a full band because I went to all the music jams. I got on stage at festivals, because that's the thing, like I've managed to build a career really, really well, right? I am like, I'm very much known for poetry, but I'm also known for music. I'm known for both. I'm known for multidisciplinary arts. And like, the way that I would navigate, I would make sure that I incorporated singing into every single thing I did. So I would make soundscapes and layer my voice and make that like the backing track of like poetry that I did. I would interweave loads of different art forms and dance into my performances too. And so I found a way to make music follow me everywhere. I found a way to perform. I found a way to find people. But a lot of life circumstances have meant that I haven't been able to like, I guess, continue that. And that leads to like my second elephant in the room. But before we do that, I found ways to make music a huge part of my life. But there's so much more I want to do. There's so much more I want to do, and there's so much more I want to embody, and that feels like sometimes it feels like I'm starting from scratch, and sometimes it feels like there's just too much ahead, and it's like starting again and retraining yourself, and like almost like going back to school but on a personal level to learn all the things that you weren't allowed to embody. And that can be tricky sometimes. But I'm learning, and I'm still pushing, and I'm still fighting, and I'm 27, and sometimes that feels like, I'm too old, it's too late. It's not. I also really want to learn production, and I think I spoke about the complexity of the doors, but I think especially when you're thinking about who you're going to collaborate with. For me, when I'm thinking about collaboration, I really want the people in the room to understand me and my identity. As a trans, non-binary singer, someone who is like, I guess, trans-masculine, trans-non-binary, like, but also really adores their range. Like, I adore my range, but I also experience voice dysphoria, and it's really important that my pronouns are used correctly in a room. So sometimes when I go into certain rooms and I'm like misgendered, or like, you know, like maybe if like sometimes you see like the really successful producers, they're like, you know, like these white men, like white cis men. and sometimes you can go into certain rooms and it's like people will interpret your voice, interpret who you are, perceive you in a way that doesn't actually align with who you are. So it can be a bit, you know, and I'm learning really now in my career, especially as I'm building and like writing my album right now, which I'm so excited about. Like, I'm tinkering away, by the way. Yeah. I'm learning that like the process of creating the rooms that I want to be in does look very particular. It does look like, you know, collaborating as much as possible with either people that are deep allies or like queer and trans POC and black people, or just like queer and trans people in general. Do you know what I mean? So I think these are the things that I'm learning. It's about retraining. And I also think the last thing I will say about music is like, I guess when you've had a dream and you've had these songs, I've had these songs, the songs that's going to be on my album, I've had them in my spirit since I was little, like since I was a little kiddo. And so I think there's this process of like finally letting go of the thing that you have been holding on to and giving it out to the world and saying, here, look, this is my gift for you. But also, like, you know when it's like you've defined yourself by, I am going to release these songs, I've always wanted to do music, I've always wanted to have stuff out. It's hard to let go of that dream sometimes. And I'm now in a place where I'm like, no, we're letting it go. No, it's going to be out in the world. No, it's out. It's free. And I have so much more songs to share with you. So it's time. Yeah, so that would be music. That would be music. Another elephant in the room for me is disability. I don't really talk about my disability, and I think it took me a really, really long time to even identify as a crip person and as someone who is disabled. I have a visible disability. I have a visible disability at the moment. I am an ambulatory wheelchair user. Also, if I sound sniffly, I'm sorry, I'm slightly getting a little bit sick. Like, genuinely, kind of stuff. Like, I'm really congested. So please bear with me. I've only been an ambulatory, like, wheelchair user for a year now. Before then, my disability was an invisible disability, and I think that after just spending years, like, you know, in the NHS, being told that there was nothing there, and then just gradually, like, watching yourself worsen throughout the years, like, you do desensitize, and, like, you just start to, like, associate your body as, like, not being a place where you're gonna find, like, consistent, like, I guess peace of mind, which sucks to say out loud, just cause pain, innit? Which is a lot. But I also think that you learn to mask your pain because often the world doesn't believe you, especially as someone who's black. Black and trans, you know, black, dark skin and trans, people don't believe our pain anyway. But then, like, it's also because it's, like, an invisible disability, so people are like, you don't look sick. And so you just kind of learn to push through, or you're just kind of like, oh, well, no one's gonna help me get better, which I'm still finding. People are still denying that, like, because I have endometriosis, right? I know this because of, like, how my symptoms manifest, because there was a scan that showed it, and then I've had some really alarming times in hospital that, like, I don't even feel comfortable going into hospital that much anymore, which is not helpful. I guess when people don't really believe your pain, they don't believe that there's something up and that you have a disability. When I had my worst flare-up ever in 2023, I thought I was gonna bounce back, like I usually did after a really bad pain flare-up, and I just didn't, because it had gotten to a place where it had deteriorated, like my health was deteriorating, and I just didn't bounce back. And I don't think I really deeped how bad it was. And then suddenly, like, month after month, I wasn't able to, like, leave the house because I wasn't able to stand up for long periods of time. And then, yeah, I was housebound for 10 months because I couldn't afford a wheelchair. And again, the NHS was denying me the care that I needed, the social care, as well as the mobility aids that I needed. I needed an electric wheelchair because my endometriosis, specifically from consultations and, like, things that the doctors, like, are suspecting, it's, like, most likely growing on my nerve tissue, and so it means that, like, I need an electric wheelchair. That was my specific need, but, like, they said I'm not eligible, so I had to fundraise for that through the community online that held me, and that's why I have a wheelchair. And it's a really weird thing because when you're growing up and you're told, or, like, it's implied, and you're also told that, like, disability is, like, the worst possible thing that could happen, and it's, like, the worst end of the road. Like, I literally thought my life was over. Like, I was like, my life as I know it is over. I thought my career was over as well. And I think that I turned online, and I turned to the online world to kind of share about what I was moving through. And so my page, you know, I've also experienced a lot. I've experienced homelessness as an unstable housing, and just, like, you know, emotional abuse, all of these kind of things. So I've turned online before for GoFundMe, and then suddenly my health got really bad and I turned online again. And it's a weird thing when you're an artist and you're a performer and you're, like, I guess, more public facing in your work, and so yeah, people, like, associate you just, like, creating and building worlds, and it's like, oh no, I'm actually a human too, and like there are things going on behind the scenes. And so it was hard to like share such a personal thing on a page where I'm just like posting about my art and I'm doing this and I'm gigging here and I'm now at this festival and that festival, and do you know what I mean? It's all glitz and glam, and then actually like sometimes when shit hits the fan, it's like, what do I do? No, I'm gonna turn to the people that come and support me in my like at my gigs, and let you know what's going on, because what else, where do you go from there, especially when you're a working class person? And so I think like in that process, like my page, I was getting a lot of gigs, you know, I was getting a lot of people just in my DMs and messages and asking me to come and perform in different things. But when you show that you're kind of like maybe unwell or like going through something, yes, there's support, but also to the world it seems like you're maybe just not as well. And so I guess performances and like requests to come and perform and gig started to slow, which was like a lot of grief, because I really do believe that last year, with the trajectory that I was going with, I probably, like, I just knew that I was probably going to be doing bigger stages. So I think disability, like this, my illness has taken a lot from me. It's taken a lot from me when I was in education, and it's taken a lot from me now that I'm in my adult life, and like I'm trying to make like a name for myself, I guess, or like just build the life that I want to have. So it's a whole thing, but it's also just like letting go of the shame, allowing myself to be seen in my disability, like allowing myself to like be photographed and videoed in my wheelchair, you know? I can't literally bring my wheelchair into my room because I will use it outside, so like the mud, and like my room is quite like, my room is carpeted, so that's why I don't like use it in here. But yeah, I remember recently, you know, I wear lots of hats, so as well as like a poet and musician, I'm also like a model, and I also do photography, and sometimes I'm behind the camera, and I was being photographed by this incredible photographer called Zanelli Moholy. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna be in an exhibition of like faces and places and faces? No, faces and places. Faces and places. And I remember it was last year I was photographed, and when it came to being photographed, I wanted to just use my walking stick or just try and stand, and I can't stand for long periods of time. It's improving, but I can't stand for long periods of time. And I just remember feeling so much shame and just not wanting to be photographed in my wheelchair, because I was like, no, like it's not gonna be here for like ages, like, you know, I know my quality of life will improve, amen, it will, but like my wheelchair has also improved my quality of life. It's the reason I was able to leave the house. And so I think like it was just like, it's just this thing that you have to unlearn, like this shame around being a disabled person and needing specific mobility aids. Like I eventually was like, I was like, do you know what, let me be photographed in my wheelchair. But it took a lot, and it still does. And I think as well, like there's a grief of becoming, like having a disability in terms of like the things that you used to be able to do. I've always struggled with like, I guess, movement, but I've just managed to make it work. But I'm a dancer, right? Like I've done loads of different dance shows, and like I use dance in my practice as well. So, and I often like would dance online, and I still do dance and I still incorporate it, but I can't do it the same way. And so I think for ages I also thought dance was off the table. But I'm learning that I can be dynamic in the ways that I relearn and re-show up in the world. I also can be dynamic in the ways that I embody my disability and be proud in my disability, even though sometimes like I have hard days and really bad pain days, like I can embody that. And yeah, I think it's just hard. It's hard when you don't see people like you in music, in the music industry, like visibly disabled people in the music industry. Imagine visibly disabled, black, queer, and trans. Like, these aren't problems to me, but to the world, they're these niche identities. Oh, you know what I mean? So it can just be tricky to like feel like you can embrace those things, and I'm learning to step into it and just name it and be like, no, this is me, so you know. But yeah, I'm learning to dance in new ways, and I've got a little dance video for you where I actually do just like, yeah, I experimented with like just like what it means to be like moving and dancing and like out of my chair as well as in my chair, and that's been something I've been experimenting with a lot more. And also just allowing myself to be seen. So like, yeah, that's why I do cozy concert sessions on my channel and like on this page. I'm often like sitting on like my wheelchair cushion whenever I'm shooting, because I need to sit on like specific soft surfaces. And yeah, and also that's why, yeah, I'm also an ambulatory wheelchair user, and it's okay to name these things, but it can be hard to feel like you can just embrace every part of you when the world makes it seem like it's this huge problem and makes access so impossible. So that's my second elephant. Hello, editing Kobi/Ocean here. Just to say, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please like, subscribe and follow, all of that good jazz. Leave a lovely comment. And I will see you in part 2 of the video.